Okay, Studio Bones. 22 weeks, you have proven yourself to be quite competent. I am very impressed that 22 episodes so far have been non-stop, consistent quality. I look forward to every episode and have looked forward to every episode. As you can see, Gachiakuta, along with My Hero Academia's last season, are among the few anime that I am watching this season, and it's for good reasons, actually. I really like Gachiakuta's dystopian vibe of a trash world and Rudo and the cleaners defeating trash beasts. And now we've gotten to the point where they're literally inside a giant artificial trash beast, which was created by the Raiders. And at this point, Gachiakuta's latest episode has brought a conclusion to the fight against the Raiders, which the giant trash beast that they were inside was heading for the sphere, and it has succeeded at delivering gradual yet satisfying world building. I'll go at it one at a time. I continue to be impressed by the action, animation, and drawings, and Bones is one of the better studios out there, and I appreciate their consistency overall. And I hope the next two episodes manage to wrap a nice bow to this at the end of the season because I'm not sure what's going to happen to Amo, and she's probably one of the most influential characters we've seen in Gachiakta so far, and so I'm quite intrigued. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the drawings. Like, when we see Nerede, that electro hair lady, shocking everyone, she kind of gives that final boss vibe while the rest of the raiders are leaving. And that drawing of Rude, having read the first volumes of the manga, Gachiakta's art is quite fascinating and amazing, and the anime so far has shown that this franchise can really trans well into anime form. No, in fact, it continues to exceed its source material because while manga manages to tell its story through still frames, animation can also emote because of how those characters move and feel alive. And Gachiakta continues to feel alive. The art really shows that we should care about these characters, and the emotions that they face are very real. Though, I honestly have to say that the battle against Nerde was honestly a callback to some of the earlier episodes of Gachiakta and harkens back to when Rudo fell from the sphere for the first time. It had this surreal black and white experience as he was falling down, and it looked very etched per se. And as Noeda fell from the trash beast, she was enamored by the beautiful sky of the sphere. I thought that was a nice touch. But what was even better was when she saw like some form of construct come from the sphere, and then the whole world started to go into black and white and all scribbled like you see in the screen. I This is one of the things that Gachiakta's direction succeeds at. The visual direction is stunning. It really feels immersive, and it really showcases a real sense of danger and a real sense of awe. And for the anime to be able to continue to maintain that quality for 22 weeks, again, I'm going to say it's impressive. I think it's also interesting how that little kaiju girl, her transformation sequence actually surprised me. I was really caught off guard by how fluid that scene looked. And yes, her suit kind of gave me the impression that she had some form of a kaiju transformation, but and it was kind of last minute, but it comes to show how Gachiakta manages to get even its side characters a chance to shine. Though last week's episode was incredible in terms of animation, but I didn't get a chance to cover it in my reviews. But just I really loved last week's episode. While I'm not going to discredit that this week's episode still manages to look good, last week's episode looked amazing, but I was kind of disappointed when I found out that the Raiders were going to bail out so easily, and it kind of made me think, What's going to happen to Amo? How are the cleaners going to save them? But I do think it's funny how it was interesting because some viewers were not really thrilled when Rudo and the cleaners were thrown into the underground by the raiders, but that underground turned out to be within a trash beast. But when they reacted to how they were inside a trash beast, if we're inside a trash beast, it's our job to clean it up. It just really comes to show that Gachiakuta, no matter what circumstance the characters may be in, it still manages to be Gachiakuta, and I really appreciate that. One thing I've noticed about Gachiakuta is that I appreciate how character driven it is. It tells its story through external conflict, but also balances it with internal conflict. It shows our characters' desires, it shows that they're living in this world, and they're not just props. And I have to give the original mangaka props to that, honestly, because Gachiakta doesn't just make its characters for the plot. The characters and plot go hand to hand, and because of that nice balance, it has made every week worthwhile. And sometimes I may not have been consistent because of my life, but I've really enjoyed it so far. One thing that I found interesting though was one of the raiders, Fu, who is very much a crybaby, and he does sound like Zenitsu from Kimetsu no Yaiba. It was kind of interesting how his schizophrenia showed. This is a bit of a spoiler, but it reminded me of Layla from Genshin Impact, who also is an example of this, where she gets really stressed and she puts a lot of pressure on herself, and so she has her alter ego that comes, who is much more confident and is a reflection of that per se. And anyways, I am impressed by Bones' visual prowess, and I look forward to next week because I want to see where this comes up. What do the Raiders have in store next? What's going to happen to Amo? And how Rudo and Amo's connection to the Watchmen series. Oh yeah, I also noticed that before Noirda's death, she did mention the Watchmen and warned the Raiders about that the sphere is more beautiful and terrifying than they could comprehend. Well, what do you think will happen next? If you've seen the episode, tell me your favorite part in the comments. And if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. See y'all later.